The key question is, what is possible now? In turbulent times, when divisions and regressive policies threaten progress and problems seem daunting, is it still possible to see our way to a just and sustainable future?
Let us remember that there is a creative force in this universe, a power that is able to make a way out of no way and transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows. Let us realize that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
There is a tendency to think that what we see in the present moment will continue. We forget how often we've been astonished by the sudden crumbling of institutions, by extraordinary changes in people's thoughts, by unexpected eruptions of rebellion against tyrannies, by the quick collapse of systems of power that seemed invincible. What leaps out from the history of the past 100 years is its utter unpredictability.
Many years ago, I interviewed Desmond Tutu prior to the end of apartheid. And he kept saying, when we end apartheid, and I kept thinking, yeah, right, like dream on. I mean, I didn't want to, rain on his parade or anything, but in my heart of hearts, I thought, not in your lifetime. And lo and behold, a year and a half later, it was over. So it was really a profound lesson about what can happen when the will of people aligns.
We have defeated awful things like Nazism, like apartheid. What that says is that ultimately good prevails. It is a moral universe, despite all appearances to the contrary. It is that there's no way in which evil will ultimately triumph.
The policies, technologies, and movements that will lead to a new future are already emerging in the economy, in government, and in civil society. The revolutionary concept of giving legal rights to nature, to rivers and forests, represents a radical new understanding of the human-Earth relationship, and it is spreading around the globe.
Growing grassroots movements are arising to address the critical issues of our times. In the United States, people are mobilizing to resist real threats to democracy, to ensure fair elections where all voters count, and to remove the influence of money and corporate power from politics. And there is a surge in citizen participation and social activism as more and more people are stepping up and engaging in direct action and in the political process.
People are engaged in a wide range of actions to break our addiction to fossil fuels and reduce the level of carbon in the atmosphere. As clean energy sources like solar and wind become less expensive than fossil fuels, individuals, cities, states, and nations are stepping up to address the planetary crisis of global warming and climate change.
Adding to the momentum is a groundbreaking study by an international team of researchers and scientists. Called Drawdown, it maps, measures, and models 100 existing solutions that, if scaled up, would reduce greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere and actually reverse global warming by 2050. The drawdown solutions also offer cascading benefits to human health, security, and well-being. Implementing these solutions can be seen as a powerful opportunity to create a thriving, just, and sustainable world.
In business around the world, major corporations are implementing sustainability programs that focus on protecting the environment and supporting people. And social entrepreneurs are creating a new kind of company committed to the common good.
Normal companies have a legal obligation to maximize value for their shareholders, period.
We wanted to create an opportunity for a company to both make money and make a difference.
And so we created this nonprofit B-Lab to help support that global movement of entrepreneurs that was trying to use business as a force for good. And they're part of a community of 1,000 businesses from more than 80 industries across more than 30 countries that all share one unifying goal, which is to redefine success in business. And if they can do that successfully, one day all companies will compete not only to be the best in the world, but to be the best for the world.
New technologies and inventions are creating a design revolution that is not only improving lives, but also helping to clean up the environment.
A lot of people think that trash is inevitable. It's one of those necessary evils of life, but that's not true. Waste is actually the product of bad design, and bad design can be changed.
Innovative design is also creating low-tech solutions for the developing world.
At the heart of the transition to a new world, people everywhere are changing the way they are living, making new choices that support a more sustainable, just, and fulfilling society.
When we think about global warming, we think about transportation, we think about how we heat our houses, but in fact how we eat has just as big an impact on climate change.
Given the profound impact of livestock production on greenhouse gases and the environment, more and more people are choosing to limit or remove animal products from their diet.
According to many experts, humanity already possesses the resources and technology to solve the world's most pressing environmental and social problems.
We know how to do these things. This is not a great mystery. We don't have to do research for the next 20 years to figure out what to do. We know what to do. We think it'll take about $200 billion a year to stabilize population, eradicate poverty, and restore the economy's natural support systems over the next decade. That's a lot. But when you compare it with military budgets, it's really not that much. It is a third of the US military budget. It is roughly an eighth of the global military budget. So we can't say we don't have the resources to save civilization. We do.
Everywhere on planet Earth, a vast and unprecedented global phenomenon is beginning to make itself known.
There is another superpower here on Earth. That is an unnamed movement. It is far different and bigger and more unique than anything we have ever seen. It flies under the radar of the media by and large. It is nonviolent. It is grassroots. It has no cluster bombs, no armies, and no helicopters. It has no central ideology. The very word movement is too small to describe it. This is humanity's immune response to resist and heal political disease, economic infection, and ecological corruption caused by ideologies. This is fundamentally a civil rights movement, a human rights movement. This is a democracy movement. It is the coming world. What you're seeing here is the beginning of a list of the 2 million organizations in the world that work towards social and environmental justice. And that's a minimum. To give you a sense of how big this movement is, if I start this tape today at 9 a.m., and we watch this all day and all night, and the day after that, and then we watch it for 3 more weeks, and then another month after that, we still would not have seen the names of all the groups in the world. It's the largest social movement in the history of humankind by far.
Powering this growing global phenomenon is the explosive digital communication revolution that is revealing and connecting a planetary human community.
People can now be connected nationwide to act locally in their communities and then have all that local action united into one synchronized, beautiful, harmonic voice.
The only voice we have is this video editing. We don't know books, so we can't write much. But if we are able to do a small film of what is happening to us, it will go to the internet and the whole world will see it.
When we begin to recognize all the policies, technologies, and movements that are emerging now around the world, we can see that an entirely new future is possible. What's missing is something that only human beings can provide: the collective will to change the course of history.